Oh, hello there. Welcome to News, Games, and More, IGN's daily live news show. I will be your host today. I'm Damon Hatfield, and today I'm joined by Jonathan Dornbush
I'm the news.
and Loki, I think is in
Yeah,
Jonathan's lap there.
he's peeking.
Destin Legary is with us,
Bam! Hey, everybody.
and John Ryan.
I'm either games or more.
Which, yeah, you guys are going to have to fight. Destin and John are going to have to fight for who's games and who's more.
Dibs on more.
I'll be games.
There we go.
Yes.
Speaking of games, John, looks like you're playing the Fall Guys.
Oh yeah. I just got
how
my first win the other day. It was great.
Nice. How are you liking it?
I love it. It's. I was saying to Destin earlier, like it's the first battle royale that isn't like infuriatingly stressful, but also that I'm not immediately terrible at. So yeah, I dig it.
Yeah, it's really cute. I was checking it out on PlayStation Plus, where it's free this month, which is a pretty cool deal. But apparently, it's already sold like 2 million copies just on Steam alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jonathan, have you checked it out yet?
Oh yeah, I played most of this weekend. I did get frustrated here and there not winning because people would knock me off the seesaws. As
Yep.
if they
Oh,
didn't know seesaws. So here's the thing: seesaws, good game. People bad
Is
at
it?
seesaws. I like
That's
seesaws.
true, yes,
but
that's
people
very
don't
true.
know how to work seesaws. It's like they completely
I've-
forgot what they spent their childhoods doing.
I feel like Seesaws is one of those matches that's going to become team play only eventually.
Yeah.
Like because like if you're playing with people and you've got more people in a group that you can like coordinate with, like you can absolutely game Seesaws in your favor. But like if you're playing solos, there's one track that you just like it's like the second left, just never take it because you'll just stand there waiting forever for the seesaw to drop.
How about you, Destin? Have you been checking out Fall Guys?
No, I've been playing the Avengers beta. I basically played that
yes.
all weekend, got everybody to level 15, and I had a pretty good time with it.
Yeah.
Nice.
What's I'm hearing very mixed things about it, so I'd love to hear what you like about it.
I just like that you get to play as all the superheroes, really. I'm very simple. If you look at my Twitter, it's just screenshots also. It has a pretty cool photo mode. I had a lot of fun taking pictures of like Iron Man, Kamala Khan, Hulk, and just getting really good shots of the characters. Gameplay-wise, it needs a little bit of work, a little bit refinement in the combat section. But yeah, I don't know. It's one of those simple to play, but you can get a little bit more in depth with combat. It just needs a little bit more nuance there on the harder difficulties. But I like it. I think it's telling a pretty good story, and I can't wait to play the full game.
Cool.
You are
A solid 6.
What? What?
All right.
You're
Wow.
not reviewing it. Hold on.
Came in a little bit lower than I was expecting.
We specifically didn't put a score on it today.
Yeah. You can go read Tom's full impressions of the game. For me, I think it's going to clock in, just guessing, just speculating the Metacritic average. I think it's going to clock in around 6 to 7. That's my guess.
Okay. Wow.
If you read, I've been reading online all weekend. A lot of people are really not digging it, so
Yeah,
I understand where they're
exactly.
coming from. I don't know. It's another game where I can level up a cool looking character, and it has so many like comic book nods, and it's just fun to play as my favorite characters, and they're all sort of interchangeable. They all have really basic combat maneuvers that you can switch between characters, and you can get into the nitty gritty of each character if you want to. But yeah, I don't know. I could ramble about Avengers, but I don't want to take up all the time.
Yeah, well, the open beta is this weekend, right, on PS4. So
Open beta on PS4 this weekend, and if you pre-ordered on Xbox or PC, you can also play this weekend.
cool. Well, I'll happily check out the open beta this weekend too, because like I think Avengers could be a real fun grind for me. Like I'm not a big fan of the shared world action or shooter genre, but like I love me some Marvel heroes. So
There's so many comic book references in there. I think people that are fans of comics are really going to have a good time with the game.
Cool.
Destin, you are of course Mr. Destiny. How many similarities do you draw between the two games, Destiny and Marvel's Avengers?
They definitely took some influences or some inspirations from Destiny. Like there's a loot system, it has various pieces of gear, but it seems like it's not that in depth just based off of what we got to experience. But Dorno, you let me know because you did the IGN first that there's actually, we only get access to the primary. There's also specialty and mastery, I believe, are the other two trees that you get access to.
Yeah, so the beta is there are essentially 3 pages of skill trees that you'll get, and the second and third aren't available at all in the betas, and that's where a lot of the like character customization stuff that they've really been pushing, where like if you want to somehow make a support build for Hulk, you can do that with these skills, but you can also do even a ranged Hulk or a close combat Hulk. Like you can really go in and specify the different types of heroes you want to make. So that all comes in those skill trees, but we don't have access to those yet.
I want to see your support Hulk. I don't believe it.
Yeah,
I believe it when I see it.
That is
I'll do
now
it.
100% my goal for when this launches.
Support Hulk.
Hulk you. I'm very excited for that.
Good. All right, well, let's move on to the news of the day. One of the worst kept secrets in gaming was seemingly apparently leaked very recently. This is, of course, the Xbox Series S, the lower end model of Microsoft's next gen console. Someone on Twitter managed to buy the controller for the Xbox Series X/S. I don't know how this is possible. They got it from a resale site called OfferUp for like $35. I can't imagine how that is possible, but apparently they did. They put up photos, and the back of the packaging says it's compatible with both Xbox Series X and S. Jonathan, what did you make of this?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of one of those like how did this happen? How did this slip through? But apparently there have been multiple reports of people being able to buy them, and not just, like one store selling them. Like it's been a few different places, I think. So clearly some shipment got out there early, but yeah, as you were saying, the Series S is one of the worst kept secrets this year when it comes to gaming, and it's one of those just Microsoft still won't say a single official word about it, and obviously they're planning some sort of reveal for it, but it would just be nice to know now that there's apparently things you can buy out there for it.
Destin, do you think that Microsoft is going to reveal this officially this month?
Absolutely. And Xbox, you sneaky sneakers. You thought you could pull one over on the gaming community. Nope. It's COVID world. We got nothing better to do than actually look at those tiny little manuals. We know all about the Xbox Series S now. We got
like what it's called.
Yeah. Yeah. Do we know all about it? We don't know.
We know there's a controller support for it.
I mean, I think
we got
I think that's now the really big question, right? Where it's like, they ask like, will they reveal for it? And like, they kind of have to at this point. Like, I mean, obviously they always had to, but I think now this is kind of like forced their hand a little bit. And especially because like, we're still in that funky space where it's that game of chicken on who's going to announce the prices first.
Yeah.
And I feel like I don't think they're in any better place than they were 2 weeks ago. Microsoft is, but I think that they could certainly take this sort of steam of this news cycle and run with it. Because I feel like everyone has to know what they want to charge for it at this point,
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I would imagine so. I would imagine those prices were set a long time ago. But do we know these consoles are coming, this holiday? The holidays are 3 months away from now. So they really need to I would imagine they'd want to get some pre-orders going for these things.
But that's also like 7 years in 2020 days. So.
That's true. That's a good point. I think if the Series S is revealed this month, Microsoft has to reveal the price, because if they're just like, it's the cheaper version of our next gen console, everyone's gonna want to know, okay, how much cheaper is it?
And what does that mean?
Yeah, exactly. So
end
Jonathan,
of the month, right?
Yeah, towards the end of the month. But Jonathan, what are you feeling? We're not gonna leave August without knowing how much the PlayStation 5 is gonna cost, are we?
I would have said yes. We would have to know this month, even a week ago. But honestly, at this point, I have no idea. There was a state of play last week that had about 3 PS5 games in it. We're not hearing anything else right now about when we're going to find out more PS5 information. Like I was kind of hoping at the end of the state of play, they would have been like, and stay tuned in 2 weeks when we have our next big PS5 showcase, but they are silent on that right now. And honestly, I do not know. I could conceivably see us getting into the first week of September and them announcing it then.
Wow. Yeah, I guess, this Gamescom coming up later this month. Possibly make some announcements around that. Getting into September, I guess there's PAX online if they wanted to.
I mean, I don't
some
think
sort of event.
I don't think Sony cares about aligning with any event right now.
Yeah.
I think they're
Yeah.
going to do it when they want to / after Microsoft has.
Hmm. So, both Xbox and Nintendo have sort of their premier model and then a cheaper model, even with the Nintendo Switch Lite. PlayStation 5 doesn't have that. PS5 just has the regular PS5 and then one without a disc. Are they missing out on something that Microsoft and Nintendo have figured out? Should there be a lower end PS5 model?
No, you go ahead.
I was going to say not unless the market demands it after launch, like not unless they see a really big blowback either to price or to people's interest in the launch lineup, like whatever happens with the launch of the PS5. I don't think they see a need for it, and there hasn't necessarily been a need for it this generation for the PS4. And so I think unless they're forced into that position where like we see amazing sales success for the Series S, because I think they're less concerned about how the Switch Lite is doing in comparison to the Switch. Whether or not they should be is a different question. But I think unless they see the S is somehow tremendously like outselling the X and it's the most popular console this holiday, like until they see something that tells them to make a lower tier model, I don't think they're going to see a reason to.
Yeah, John, what do you think?
I think the question really is like, what is the difference in performance look like from the Series S to the Series X? Like, is the Series is the Series S essentially just like a reskinned Xbox One S or X, or is it or is it actually a slightly different version of the Xbox One or the Xbox Series X? Someday I'll get those names right.
Well, I mean, that's kind of a whole issue, right? So like this holiday season, Microsoft has to communicate that you can play Halo Infinite on Xbox Series X and Xbox Series S and PC, or the Xbox One, or the Xbox One X, or the Xbox One S,
or
right?
on Xbox Game. What's their streaming platform?
xCloud, Project
There
xCloud.
it is, on Project xCloud, if they bring it to xCloud.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if they will or not, but like I'd be kind of surprised if it didn't come shortly after the mainline launch.
Yeah.
But again, like to get to the PS5, like I think the PS5 is saying this is the box, this is what it does. If it's worth it to you, go ahead and spend the money. But yeah, I mean, much like Jonathan said, like I think it would be surprising to see them announce before they get a month or two past launch that they're going to be doing a different or a lesser model of it.
Well,
Destin, what's your go ahead.
The lesser model is the discless version. I don't think Sony's going to do anything than the two consoles that they've revealed. I think they have the one with a disc and one without, and they're going to stick with that. They're the big boys right now. They don't have to do a lower tier model, right?
Well, that's the thing, right? Where it's like, there is that quote cheaper option. I can't imagine it's going to be more than like a $50 difference, but like it's all a waiting game. It's like we don't know what the Series S is going to look like in comparison to the X. Like we don't know what the difference in price will be. Like because what does an Xbox One X cost right now? $299, $350.
Let me Google it.
Sure.
Well, they discontinued the One X, so it was going for I think 400, 300, or 400, depending on sales usually. Yeah.
So whatever that model was going for, like that's what we'll see the S series price point come in at, and then the X will probably be really
still.
That's what it looks like. Well, it's just because they're not in stock.
Yeah. That's why. Last time I saw it on the Microsoft Store and Amazon, I think they were going for about 400.
Yeah. So I would say we'd probably see the S come in at 350, 400, and then the X come in. It's a decent little PC, so probably like $600. But again, that's just like total guess.
Yeah.
$399 on the official Microsoft Store for the 1 terabyte, but it's out of stock.
Well, hopefully it's not too long until we know exactly when we can buy these new consoles and how much we're going to have to pay. But moving on to another story, this is a horror story. This is a horror story that thankfully has a happy ending. A mom has recovered the $20,000 her teenage son secretly spent on Twitch donations in just 17 days. The mom said the donations wiped out years of savings for their family. The family chose to remain anonymous, but she said she had a very tough time getting in touch with Twitch and trying to sort of get these donations refunded. She tried filling out an online help form with Twitch, sending registered mail to the Twitch CEO, but had no luck. She did get a tip that she should contact Xsola, which is a paying service company that is partnered with Twitch. She was eventually able to get almost all of that $20,000 back. The mother claims the son is remorseful and is going to counseling.
And
Destin,
is hella grounded.
Yeah. Destin, you recently shared some news. I don't know if you're open to sharing that news here, but you're
gonna be a dad.
You're gonna be a dad. Sorry, I didn't want to spoil it if you didn't want to bring it up here, but since you mentioned it, you're gonna be a dad. So imagine yourself 15 years from now. You just found out that little Destin Jr. has spent $20,000 to Twitch donations. What do you do?
He's grounded. I reverse the payments on the credit card or whatever he had done. Contact the bank. They can probably figure that out, and then reach out like the mom did to the. Well, I would probably be able to get in touch with Twitch, so I'm thankful for that. Yeah, but it's not easy. It's like I definitely feel for the mom because it is hard to get in touch with Twitch through there's no number you can call to get in touch with them, right? That I know of. Yeah, so I don't know, just you're grounded, no Twitch for a month. I don't know what else I would do.
Just a month.
Like literally never again, ever.
Yeah.
You no. Well, okay. So my question though is like, where did that money come from in the first place? Like, did this kid steal? But did they steal the mom's credit card? Like, did they just link their family Amazon account to it? This is all immaterial. Like, this kid should not have done this. But
exactly,
how did the credit card company not flag that as a mysterious purchase? I fill up gas at the gas station, and they're like, "Hey, that's sort of weird. You haven't filled up gas in a long time." How did 20 grand get spent?
If they're a family who shops regularly on Amazon, who owns Twitch, then those charges will still go through. I think they still process as an Amazon transaction. So if you do a bunch of shopping on Amazon as it is, and you just see, $5 a day, $10 a day, $20 a day for 6 months or however long it took him to spend that obscene amount of money, from the security standpoint, it's pretty easy to write it off. But yeah, and good on the mom for getting it back too, because I can only imagine that trying to deal with Twitch or with Amazon directly, that would have been an absolute nightmare, even if she could have gotten in touch with anybody.
Yeah, apparently the bank wasn't very helpful either. There was another article that said that the bank could only help if she was willing to press charges against her son. So
what?
Yeah. Because
capitalism is wild, man.
It's just spent out of the money's or the family's account. There's nothing fraudulent there, unless
Yeah. Well, that's
crazy story. Thankfully, it had a happy ending. Destin, what would you do if you had gotten donations from this kid?
Well, I thought about that because I saw it in the run of show.
Yeah.
Luckily, the mom caught it within 17 days. I would have been able to just refund her money, or at least as much as I could have, because when you get a tip on Twitch, I think taxes are immediately taken out. So you get a little bit less.
Yeah.
I don't know what the percentage is exactly, but I would just be like, oh, hey, totally understand. Here's your money back.
That's good. Jonathan, what if you found out Loki had spent $20,000?
I would have to
dog
really,
influencers.
Yeah, I'd really have to look into the science of it all and see how he was able to type so accurate. I think that would be
a little bit less angry and just a little impressed.
I'd probably find a way to make a little more than $20,000 at that point if he can do that.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. I thought today. So first of all, we talked about this briefly on the show last week. I think it's crazy that we're in August and we do not know what this year's Call of Duty game is yet. I thought we were going to find out today, but apparently it's being dragged out even longer. Now we're going to have to wait till Friday. Destin, do you have any sort of read into what's going on with this Call of Duty reveal? there's sort of it was a viral stunt that was going on today.
No, but I didn't get a crate. Thanks, Activision. No, apparently they sent out this giant crate, and within that crate was a slideshow or something. Like I saw Call of Duty Intel or somebody had opened it, and within there's slideshows or something within the box.
Like
I don't know.
Old-timey projector from math class.
Yeah. That's all that I know about it, and I don't know what's on the slides. I guess we'll find out soon enough. Sure, whatever.
Sure, whatever.
A new Call of Duty. I'm so shocked and amazed.
Sounds like you like it about as much as Marvel's Avengers.
Solid 6 to 7.
The rumor is that it's supposed to be what Call of Duty or Black Ops 5, right?
Black Ops Cold War is
the
what
fifth
the
Black
Doritos
Ops
bags leaked.
Ooh.
Yeah. Doritos always knows what's going on with Call of Duty.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what's that?
Oh, I was gonna say I thought it was interesting that we saw earlier, I think it was last week, that that Raven Software was confirmed to be working with them on this one.
Raven and Treyarch together.
Yeah. Which is super interesting to me because like I remember playing the old Soldier of Fortune games for way too much time as a kid, and those were Raven Software games. And if they're bringing any of that energy into Call of Duty, it's gonna get messy.
Yeah. I actually never played the Soldier of Fortune games, but they were infamous back in the day for being
the most violent games ever. Like
you
pridefully.
You could shoot limbs off and whatnot.
Yeah, it was like I think Soldier of Fortune 2 made serious headlines. Like that was one of the games that they like showed to Congress for being like a bad influence on kids because there were like 120 damage points or something like that on the body. It was absolutely wild.
And look how you turned out. You're fine.
Fine. No, I mean like it's interesting that because like they were an earlier game maker to really try and combine that like really frenetic action with like a longer form story that kind of spanned the entire game as opposed to just being like individual levels. So I think that it would be super interesting to see what they do bring to the table. Like I said it in jest earlier because it's going to be like really gross or whatever, but I'm genuinely really curious to see what they do with like a part of such a massive franchise.
Yeah. Did they reboot Soldier of Fortune like in the 360?
They did it. They did Soldier of Fortune 3, I think, as an early 360 title. I think that was like 2009, maybe, maybe 2010. I want to say, but I don't think they ever rebooted it. No, I think it just kind of went away after that because that was not a good game, if I remember correctly.
So the next clue leads us about the Call of Duty reveal leads us to this Friday. Jonathan, do you have any insight into should we expect the full game to be revealed then, or is it just going to be another clue?
Loki thinks yes. No, unfortunately, I would not expect the full reveal on Friday. One of the people who was looking into the Easter eggs from this said they had heard directly from Activision, and what we saw today was just the first step of the reveal. So what comes Friday is just the next part.
All right, then.
Cool.
The wait for this year's Call of Duty continues. Destin, would you expect it to be a next-gen title? Is it going to be a cross-gen game on both current and next-gen platforms?
Ooh, that's a tough question. I'm not sure. Yes, I think they would release on everything because market-wise, that's how they're going to make the most money, and that's what Activision likes, money.
All right, then. A game that is not releasing on everything yet, though maybe we've got some new information about that, is Crash Bandicoot 4. It's about time. It was coming this October, and it was previously revealed for just PS4 and Xbox One.
Yes.
Not for Switch, even though the Insane Trilogy did eventually come to Switch. Was it like a year later, Jonathan?
It was a year later. It originally just debuted on PS4, and then it came to Xbox One, Switch, and PC later on.
Gotcha. Well, on the website for Crash 4, someone has found placeholder code that references a Nintendo Switch version. So, Jonathan, would you guess that it'll be a similar situation where it comes to Switch later down the line than the PS4 and Xbox One?
I would have to assume so. Toys for Bob is developing Crash 4, and they did Spyro Reignited Trilogy, which also came to Switch as well. So it's not like they're strangers to the platform. I think it's probably some sort of delayed launch, and whether that's due to an agreement or just because of development constraints, they probably just don't want to say it's coming eventually if they don't have an exact date. So I definitely would expect it to come, especially because I think when the Insane Trilogy hit Switch, weirdly enough, that game was at the top of the UK sales charts for like weeks because of its Switch launch. Like a year after its launch, it was the #1 game in the UK for like a few weeks. So the Crash will definitely have life on Nintendo Switch if it's ported there. I would assume it's just a matter of time.
Yeah, a platformer that's very Nintendo friendly. John, how are you feeling about Crash 4? Are you a Crash fan?
This might be surprising to some, but I was actually not a big Crash Bandicoot guy, even though his big jorts were very on brand when he first showed up on the scene. But that's the thing is like, the Insane Trilogy, I played for a little bit. I didn't get all the way through, but I really loved that experience. I thought it was super fun. And I'm really curious to see what it looks like, in terms of what the evolution of it is. I like good puns, and so Crash 4 already has that going for it in spades. Yeah. The gameplay bit that we saw last week looks really interesting. I like the idea of being able to play as multiple characters. I like being able to do, was it a hoverboard? Was it? Or I think it was either a hoverboard
Jonathan?
or
in Warped or
no, in the latest gameplay trailer that we
saw. In the latest one, yeah, I think he has a hoverboard. Loki really wants to comment. I think there's a hoverboard in there. He does do also, they've introduced in this one basically like rail grinding. So
that was the thing that I was yeah. I like a good rail grind. It's going to be a good year for that between this and Tony Hawk.
Yeah.
And yeah, if it makes it to Switch, again, more accessibility for games is always a good thing.
You know what I did like from that last trailer that we got from State of Play last week is the feature where you can revisit levels, and maybe you can explain this better, Jonathan. You can revisit levels and it will change the way the level is presented. And I think it's more than just an art style. Like maybe now the level is underwater, so it totally changes up how you have to address or sort of approach the level. Is that right?
Yeah, this got me really excited, and I think kind of speaks to how big this game is going to be, and maybe like porting all of this to the Switch if it wasn't there at the start of development, maybe some of the reasons why we're not seeing it announced yet. But anyway, they've essentially introduced a new thing called inverted mode, which is their like take on mirror mode. And yeah, as you were saying, every level is going to have its own unique look or reskin to it, but it isn't just reskins. So like there are some levels where if you see in the footage Crash, it's all black and white, and if Crash spins, he spins color into the world. But there's other levels, like you were saying, that are more of a like sci-fi futuristic city that you're normally just jumping through, but then it's underwater. Others slightly change up enemy placement. Like there's little tweaks that some will change like audio cues that affect how you go through them. They're reskins but with a twist, and it looks really cool. And like Crash is always a game where people who love the series love to 100% them, and this is just kind of like another reason to give you to revisit levels, which I love.
Yeah, I thought that was a really cool feature. So Crash 4, it's not coming to the Switch at the same time as PS4 and Xbox One, but there is hope that it's eventually coming to Switch because of that code found on the game's website. And I like the comment, an IGN commenter on our article said, the person that found this must have been really bored. And I thought that was pretty good. Because yeah, I don't know how you do find that sort of thing. So the Switch is 3.5 years old now. It was already less powerful than the PS4 and Xbox One at launch, but that hasn't stopped it from being just phenomenally successful for Nintendo. But now we're about to launch 2 next-gen consoles for PlayStation and Xbox. Destin, what do you think? Do we need a more powerful Switch? Is the Switch going to start really feeling dated next to these next-gen consoles? Do we need a more powerful Switch that will sort of fix these long waits that we have for all these ports? What do you think?
I wouldn't be surprised if Nintendo updated I'll call it console. I don't know what to call it. But probably in the next 2 years. I don't think we'll see anything this holiday season. They're going to kind of let the big boys release their new console, and then maybe come up with an upgraded version. That's been long rumored. And I think it would be smart for Nintendo to do it at a time when they believe that the market is most viable to do that. Probably this year is not great, so it's smart that they're not doing it immediately. I could see it by next year or the year after, though.
All right, and finally, today, Destin, what's going on with this Injustice 3? Is it a rumor? Is it a
Yeah,
tease?
so this is just a thing I threw in there because I saw one of our parent company's sister sites or whatever picked it up. And Dorna, we passed on it because Boss Logic tweeted a photo of Injustice 3. It was sort of like a teaser image. And I just love this sort of stuff. Like I said at the top of the show, I love comic book games. Injustice is a really, really fun series. And yeah, it's just basically the logo Injustice, but no E. It's a 3, like thief, when they added a 3.
Oh, yeah.
The
Like
more
Drive
interesting
Freer.
the more interesting aspect of the imagery is that it potentially teases that Watchmen would be included in some respect. A DC property, like it's within the DC realm or world or whatever you want to call it. And I think that definitely opens up the game to some interesting possibilities. And that was the story. What do you guys think Injustice 3 will add Watchmen to the roster? Or do you think that's a little bit weird because it's traditionally Batman versus Superman?
Well, Watchmen is certainly popular right now, thanks in part to the HBO show. But I mean, I guess I don't know. My whole frame of reference is just from the Zack Snyder film, so I don't know what all characters would make sense for that game. John, do you know?
His
Watchmen
adaptation is pretty faithful, by the way,
Yeah.
except for the ending. He
Yeah,
only
yeah.
really changed the ending. Yeah.
Which I see why. I get why he changed the ending, but I walked out of that movie really mad we didn't get a giant squid spider
Yeah.
at the end of it. So I'm looking at this image and like I don't know how much weight it actually carries, but like I see the little comedian smiley button, and I think that if the DC universe is one that always wheels and deals in the multiverse theory anyway, so like it's entirely possible that there could be a whole torn open to the Watchmen universe or something. I'd think it would be really weird to see Batman fight Rorschach, but I could also totally see it work. Like we always
Hold up, Batman fights the Ninja Turtles in Injustice 2, so I don't think it's that crazy, man.
I'm sorry, I missed Injustice 2. What?
Yeah, they added the Ninja Turtles.
That's okay. Yeah. Well, then of course this is going to be the case. Then yes. No, I mean we also said that like Mortal Kombat with a real story mode was a weird idea too. But like
I loved it.
Proved us wrong for sure. So I have faith in the NetherRealm team that like if they're gonna do it, they're gonna do it to the best of their ability, and hopefully that translates to like something really really cool. So,
yeah, if anybody can do it, I have faith that they can do it in a really interesting, cool manner that makes sense within that universe, right?
Yeah.
Well, Destin, it would make sense for Injustice 3 to be real, right? Because NetherRealm has been going back and forth between Mortal Kombat and Injustice for a while, and Mortal Kombat 11 is a year old now, right?
Yeah, so like the timing makes sense. There were all those rumors that WB was going to sell off, or AT&T was going to sell off the WB brand, and those were squashed recently, as far as I know. Dorna, maybe you want to correct me on that if I'm wrong, but yeah, I mean the timing is right. Mortal Kombat's kind of had its day. It's time to start teasing Injustice 3. Yeah.
Well, because we've got the DC event coming up soon too, so
that's on the 24th. That was what I was trying to remember.
22nd.
If there's a time it's going to happen, it's going to be soon. But like, I don't know. Even with MK11 being a year past launch, like I feel like that's pretty early to see another project come around so quickly. But like, who knows? I mean, maybe we will see it sooner rather than later.
We shall see. Jonathan, you've been quiet. I'm gonna let you have the final word. Freestyle. Anything you want to say?
Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah,
No, I think
should have known.
When it comes to this, so there was actually a report earlier today that AT&T seems to want to keep its gaming division. There was some language in like
Warner Brothers.
Warner Brothers. Thank you. Wanted to keep the Warner Brothers Interactive Entertainment based on some like forward-looking statements they made about their financials and whatnot. So it looks like they're going to be staying in-house. I do think Ed Boon is on the docket to appear at DC Fandom, so an Injustice somehow being part of all of that makes a lot of sense. There's also a recently released Injustice Year Zero, I believe it's called, comic line that just started like a week ago. They announced it. So the timing is right for a new Injustice. I don't know if this art from Boss Logic is anything more than fan art at the moment and just like wishful hoping. But I do think it is a logical step if they go to Injustice 3 because they have in the comics really integrated the Watchmen cast into the DC multiverse. So it would make sense. I just wonder, you got to assume Dr. Manhattan can't be playable. Otherwise he would just beat everyone every single time. So
Well, it's like the One Punch Man game, right? Where it's
No,
like
yeah.
every
No,
round
guys,
just
they
waits
took
until he
pills.
shows up.
They all took pills, so like they can fight each other. It's fine.
I can
Forgive
control
us.
time and space. I just really want to punch Superman.
Come on, you guys don't know all the Injustice 1 lore about how they all took super pills and they can fight each other now? Huh.
Sorry, Dustin, but I'll look forward to your explanation feature on that one. soon.
I'm joking.
Oh, we need
around.
an explainer piece. We need an
Yeah.
explainer piece on how Injustice works. But that'll have to wait for another time. That's going to do it for us today on this Monday. Everybody enjoy the rest of your Monday evening. We'll be back here, same time, same place with more news, games, and more. Thank you to Jonathan, Destin, John. Everybody, have a great night.